Good morning and welcome to Coffee and Cosmos with Robin. My name is Robin Fritz, and today we're going to talk about how to make peace with our deceased parents. And it's a special day for me because June 11th is my parents' wedding anniversary, and they died in 1994-95. So please join me as we talk a little bit about that subject. We're also going to do a guided meditation with the Crystal Fallon, a crystal of the week, and I will take 2 volunteers for quick phone readings if you'd like. So again, thank you thank you for joining me today. My name is Robin Fritz. I'm an intuitive and spiritual consultant and certified past life regression specialist, and I'm based in Seattle, Washington. And today I want to talk a little bit about how we make peace with our deceased parents. Really, as I said, in honor of my own parents, whose wedding anniversary is today, June 11th. And first, though, I want to start, as I usually do, with a meditation with the Crystal Fallon. Fallon is a citrine Lemurian quartz, a rare ancient power crystal. And hello, thank you for joining me. And this will help ground you and balance you and clear out all the cares of the day so that you can be here with us in this space that Om Times has created for us to share together. So if you take your attention to the top of your head and notice where we're connecting mind, body, and spirit more tightly together, and notice as you meditate on your deceased parents, and if your parents are still alive, yay, I'm so happy for you, but you may have a deceased loved one, human or animal. Think about them as we're doing this meditation to clear out our energy here today. So as you breathe down from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, just feel your energy clearing out and getting settled. So breathing down from the top of your head, down your face, your shoulders, your chest, your hips, your knees, and your feet. The top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And just feel that energy running down your body, clearing out all the cares of the day, getting you grounded and balanced here with us in this great community. And now as you breathe up from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head, you can continue that clearing, and you can also, thank you for joining us, also welcome in the healthy energy. Imagine this gold light flooding your heart and filling your heart with healthy, positive energy and flooding your body each time your heart beats. Awesome, right? So breathing up from the bottom of your feet, past your knees, your hips, your chest, your shoulders, your face, and the top of your head, your crown chakra. And as I tell people, if you feel lightheaded or dizzy, that's your crown chakra opening wide in connection to this very powerful crystal. And we'll close you down at the end of the time today here so that you will not be dizzy when you go about the rest of your day. So again, thank you for joining me today. We do this quick meditation. I'm going to talk a little bit about our deceased parents. I'm welcoming 2 people to ask a quick question for me to look at intuitively for you. And we will also do a crystal of the week. So, sometimes I laugh when I think about myself as being a medium, because after my parents died in 94 and 95, it never occurred to me that there was an afterlife, even though I was raised in a strong religious tradition, or that I would have the opportunity to have a conversation with my parents as they were in the afterlife. And of course, that was proven wrong. But the other thing that I wanted to share with you today is when it's my great privilege to work with clients who want to talk with their deceased parents, a couple of things come up in those conversations that I wanted to share with you. And, of course, we miss our deceased loved ones, especially our parents. Losing our parents is really the hardest thing that most of us go through. Thank you all for joining us. Unless, of course, you lose a child, which was just pretty horrible. But in the normal course of events, losing our parents is what most of us experience during the course of our lives. And it's tough, and we miss them. And when people sit down with me to do a mediumship session, a lot of times they want to know if their parents miss them. And, as I was thinking about it and preparing for this Facebook Live with you today, I thought, my dad died in 94, my dad, Ray. I now work with him because he helps me connect with the dead of my clients. And I don't remember ever talking about missing my dad with him. We've told each other we love each other. But then as I was preparing this, he said, of course I miss you, kind of get over yourself, Robin. And I think that's part of the thing. Here's the thing. When our deceased loved ones are in the afterlife, it is so much different from what we're experiencing that in some ways we're at a disadvantage. And by that, I mean, of course, we miss them. We may be living in the same place that we were living in when they passed away. We may have the same jobs, the same circumstances of our life. And missing them is a huge part of our life. There's a huge hole that's gone. Their physical body's no longer there. But from the perspective of the afterlife, things are hugely larger. I mean, everything is so different, and they're in a different place entirely. They're adjusting to what's happening. My calendar, Yellowstone. Yep, Yellowstone National Park. Yes, Carol. Yes, you'd love to hear from your husband and all of your loved ones. And we're going to talk a little bit about that here too. So, but from their perspective, sometimes my clients are like, why don't my parents tell me that they miss me? And, their perspective is, of course I miss you. What else do you want to talk about? And they kind of forget that from their perspective, they can see everything. They can see us. They can see what's happening in the world. Plus, they're having their afterlife experience. They're resting up. They're doing their life review. Yes, they go on vacation in the afterlife. Yes, they can tour the universe. And as we begin to realize how big the universe really is, you can see how many things that they're up to. Plus, they're having a good time. As my dad says, the afterlife is a party. So their perspective is a little bit different than ours. So there's that. And I also want to assure you that it's okay to grieve. Both sides are grieving their loss, even though we know that their bodies are gone. We still can't help grieving them, feeling bad for ourselves that they're not with us. And that's a natural thing. And a mediumship session with a professional medium, or even connecting on your own, as everyone can do, everyone can connect with their dead on their own. That will help you deal with your grief, and it will help your deceased loved ones deal with their grief as well, by simply connecting with them, telling them that you miss them, telling them that you're moving on, but you still miss them. That's all part of healing and moving on and getting closure from the death. And that's what connecting with your dead will help you do. Now, when I talk about feeling bad about our dead, or making peace with our deceased parents, for example, I don't mean that we are thinking about them as having a conflict with them. Sometimes people do have conflicts with their deceased parents, just as they had with them in real life. And sometimes those sessions with clients end up resolving some of the difficulties that they had with them in their life, or the children being able to say, you hurt me with this statement, or you hurt me with how you behaved. And I understand you're human just like I am human. And I forgive you, and I forgive myself for grieving and for feeling bad. Whatever it is you need to do to get closure, it's okay. They understand, and you understand too. But making peace also means, accepting the grief, accepting that you miss them, accepting that until you die and see them again, we won't be able to get our arms around them again. But they are still real to us because they are still real. They still exist. They just exist in the afterlife. So, when you're talking about making peace with your deceased parents and you have your own private conversation with them that you set up on your own, because, trust me, every single one of us is intuitive, every single one of us is a healer. So you can connect with them. You may not always hear them, because you're connecting with them in the way your intuition works most strongly. So that would be hearing or seeing or feeling their feelings or simply knowing that they're there with you. Just believe that you're connecting with them because you are, and they are available to do that. But as I said, remember that they're also off doing things. I remember a client who was very anxious to talk with her dad, and he was like, "Oh, come on, you need to move on," kind of thing. And 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 she was like, "No, I need to talk with you. I need the closure." And he finally laughed and he said, "Okay, let's get closure, and then I'm going to go off and go golfing." It's like, yeah, there really is golfing in the afterlife, which my nephew, the golf pro, will be happy to hear. But so I guess part of it is that it's hard for us, but we can also set up those sessions to talk to our deceased loved ones and laugh, tell a joke that you remember telling when you were with them, and make it a fun time and make it a healing time for you. Tell them you wish you had them back one more time, to just hug them one more time. And then imagine that you are hugging them intuitively in your heart, which is where that connection continues to live. And I know you'll feel better for doing that. And so I guess I just wanted to tell you that it's okay to grieve, and it's okay to be mad that they died and left you. It's okay to be, kind of like, why should I be mad at them? I do feel mad at them for dying, or any of those things, because remember, you're human, and grief reminds you even more intensely how human we are and how human they were and really still are in the afterlife, that soul part of them that was your parent. And so with that, let me see kind of what the questions are here. If I die old, will my mom be young still? Wendy, what a wonderful question. So here's what I know about the afterlife. My dad died at 72, but he was really old and really shriveled from a very serious long-term illness. But once he went and did his life review, which all of our family members need to do, he decided what he wanted to do next, which is run what I call a way station for dead things on the other side. So my dad helps people who have just arrived in the afterlife, and that's how he works with me as a medium, because he can see energy lines between people, the living and the dead, so he can go and get the dead and bring them back to talk with us. But the point is, my dad reversed age, so he now looks like he's in his mid-40s. So once they have successfully gone through that life review and figured out, what they wanted to do in their life and what they accomplished and what they didn't accomplish and why, and just reflecting on that, because once you take a body, all kinds of things can happen. So your mom, Wendy, may reverse age to her ideal age. And so when you die and go through your life review, you may reverse age and you may end up being like the same age. So that's pretty cool, huh? And talking about our deceased parents, today, because it's my parents' wedding anniversary, I'm going to be talking about this in more depth this afternoon on my radio show. So if you go to omtimes.com radio, my show is The Practical Intuitive Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World. And it airs at 2 Pacific time, 5 Eastern time today. You will also be able to catch it in the archives if you can't join us live. But I'll be talking about my mom in the afterlife and how she wasn't willing to do her life review. And so she looked really old and aged when I was talking with her, and she knew about that. So, Miss Robin, any messages for me? Crystal, you're doing just fine, right? You're doubting yourself, and you're doing just fine. You're on your path. You're growing. Trust yourself. You are an amazing person. Wendy, yes, isn't that awesome? So let me see what other questions. You're missing your daughter, mom, and grandmother. Oh, Mary, I am so sorry. That's a lot of people to lose. And my heart goes out to you, and I know the hearts of all of us who are here today sharing this time. And I'm sorry for you. And I am so glad that you can recognize them as a blessing in your life, because after they die, that's hard sometimes because we are caught up in our grief. So what that says to me, Mary, is that you are putting your grief in the proper place. You are learning to get closure and understanding that they're gone. But you do know that they are still there. They're still going to pop in and connect with you now and then. And thank you, Crystal. That is so awesome. And, a lot of times when people do these sessions with me, they want to settle a problem, or they want to just, sometimes they say, well, I thought my mom was going to tell me she missed me. But look at it from the perspective of her mom, who from the afterlife can check in on us anytime they want. Plus, they're traveling the universe, going on vacation, doing all of those things. So they're really busy in the afterlife. And, I asked my dad when I started talking to him, I said, what's the number one thing you want us to know about the afterlife? And he said, it's a party. We have fun over here. So I hope, Mary, that you know that your loved ones are having fun. They're growing their soul in this experience of the afterlife for them. And you will see them again when you die. And you can set up your own 10 minutes a week or whatever it is that you want to do to connect with them. I even have a webinar up on that at the experts platform at Learn It Live, where you can find a procedure that I have given you to connect with your dead on your own, right? Because I want to empower all of you to tap your own innate intuitive and healing skills. Vicki, thank you so much. I'm glad this is comforting to you, because I know you're suffering briefly on your own. And so I hope that your grief is getting better, and I appreciate your joining us here today. Terry, could I connect with your mom or dad for you? I'd happy to do that in a private session. I try not to do those online live in these sessions because they are really the most sacred thing that I do, and I like to keep it private. But I can tell you if you tell that, oh, you lost them really, we can set up a private session, Terry. But again, if you go to the experts platform at Learn It Live, you will experts.omtimes.com/Robin Fritz. You will see that free guided meditation on connecting with your dead on your own. But I can tell you one thing, Terry. I'm sorry that you lost them young. That's really difficult. I am so grateful that I was older when my parents passed. But I can tell you for a fact that they checked in with you all your life, because I've never heard of or talked with a deceased loved one who didn't continue to check in. You're welcome, Vicki. So Terry, take consolation in that, that I know that as parents, they wouldn't have wanted to leave you. So that was tough for them, I am sure. And I know that they're looking out for you. And Wendy loves my calendar. Yes, Yellowstone. And, so you want to know if your parents are okay. And Wendy, 30 years since you died. Oh, and you were young, a kid. Gosh, that is hard. And I am so sorry for that. And here's the thing. Our parents, our loved ones go through different things as they reach the afterlife. And some, like my mom, as I'll talk about this afternoon, they don't want to do their life review. And my mom was actually my first client as a medium before I realized I was going to become a medium. And my dad and I worked with her, and we talked to her about why she didn't want to do her life review. And that's part of, it's a long story that I'll cover this afternoon in my radio show. But here's the thing. To tell your mom, Terry, Wendy, all of those who have lost your parents young, to tell them that it's okay. Tell them it's okay to go to their afterlife. Tell them it's okay to go to their life review and look at their life. It's an objective thing. It's done with deep love and compassion with their spiritual team. They find compassion. I've had parents come to mediumship sessions and say they're continuing to do their life review. Sometimes they do it together, sometimes they do it on their own, and they're just really enjoying looking at their past lives and figuring out how all the different things connected over lifetimes and taking their time about deciding what they're going to do next. So, and I have never heard a deceased loved one say anything but, yes, of course we love you and of course we miss you. But they do want you to move on and live a happy, satisfied life. Find yourself, grow your soul, grow in love, and grow that soul as best as you can, because they're always there pulling for you. And I know that for a fact. So let me see if there's any last quick questions. I want to thank you all for joining me today, and it's always an honor and a pleasure to be with you and to have this connection with you. And so I was scrolling through there, so I wasn't looking right at you. But I wanted to one last thing, as you're connecting with your dead on your own. Yes, Wendy, that's really true. We can cling really tightly to our deceased loved ones. And if you say, hey, it's okay to move on, it's okay to go to your afterlife, I love you, I'll always love you. Because once they're in the afterlife and they're going through everything they're going, it's easier for us to connect with them. Hi. And it's easier for them to continue to grow their souls. And so saying, I love you, and I'm attached to you, but it's okay for you to go on. You're still going to be able to connect with them on your own or with another medium. And when you do that, thank them for coming to connect with you. Thank them for taking the time to connect with you. And thank yourself for loving them and loving yourself enough to try to make that connection, because it is awesome. And it does grow your soul as well as help them grow theirs. Mediumship is really a sacred time, and it's becoming one of my most favorite things to do, because I can see how much healing comes from that. And you can do it on your own. Just tell them you love them. Ask them to come and be with you for 10 minutes so you can tell them that, and you can feel that coming back from them. So I have a crystal of the week to help you with. In that is called Apache Tears. Now, I don't have one of my own to show you today, and you can look it up online, but Apache Tears is a variety of the crystal obsidian. Now, obsidian is a black crystal like Apache Tears, but obsidian can be too heavy and too heavy in energy or too strong for some people, and it can knock them off balance. So you have to be really grounded and balanced to actually work with obsidian, which is grounding and balancing. I know, kind of ironic, right? But Apache Tears is a softer variety of obsidian, and other people think that it might actually be smoky quartz. But the great thing about Apache Tears, it's a very gentle energy, and it can help you with your grief. And it can also calm you down and ground you. So when you're crying and you're missing your loved ones, or you're just feeling that, and trust me, after 20 years, I still shed a tear over my parents being gone, and I can talk to my dad every day. So I know how that is. I know how it is. And Apache Tears will help you settle those energies of grief. And it can also help change any negative emotions you might feel. Like sometimes people are angry towards their deceased loved ones, either because they weren't treated well by them, or just because they're angry that they died and left them. And I know that sounds like it doesn't make sense, but grief is like that, right? Grief is grief, and you're entitled to feel it however you feel it. And Apache Tears will help you work through that grief and that loss, and will help change anger and help and grief and feeling of loss into one of acceptance and clearing for you. Yes, I know, right? You can find it online. Be very careful about the source you buy your crystals from. I know that people bring me crystals because they're damaged and ill, and and even in my house, and even with Fallon, it can take sick crystals weeks and months to clear, if they clear at all. So buy from a good source. I will always recommend Kim Valines at Earth, Light, Rocks, and Gems. She is sponsoring my radio show, but I bought crystals from her for years. So you can go to earthlightgems.com and ask her about Apache Tears. And look it up online and see what you think about it. You know, you can look at crystals online and see if you feel connected to them. And also know that when I talk about crystals and I say they're good for this, they can be good for many, many things. And there are many crystals that work for the same situation. So if Apache Tears doesn't appeal to you or work for you, try something else. So I thank you all for joining me today. It is always my privilege to be here, my honor to share with you and to see your comments and to share as best I can with you. And I invite you to join me every week here at this time at the Humanity Healing page. I have some personal things coming up, so I might not be here next week. Some minor surgery to deal with, so I appreciate your well wishes for that. 2 of them this month, and I'm looking forward to that, but I might not be able to be here. But you know that I'm with you in my heart, as I know you are with this great community that Om Times has created for us. So please join me on my radio show this afternoon. If you would like to comment, you can always call in to the radio show, or you can send me an email and let me know what it is you'd like me to cover on the radio show. Or I see somebody made a comment here, and I missed it. I'm sorry. I always go back through the broadcast and try to answer questions that come up that I missed during the broadcast. Thank you, Wendy. It's going to be awesome. I've been looking forward to this for a while, and I'm going to be fine, and I appreciate all your well wishes. You know what a powerful community you are here with the Om Times people. You're Om Times people. We're here. We have this mindset of love and connection with all of us. Thank you, Vicki. Thank all of you. So now let's clear out for the day and get you grounded back in your bodies and close down that crown chakra if it's wide open and connecting with Phalum. And this is a healing technique that was taught to me by a goddess. Cross your hands, cross them on your heart, and just breathe into the palms of your hands. And you know, the palms of your hands have healing energy. So just breathe in. Now, energy is sentient. It knows what it's doing. So just invite it to help you get grounded back in your body. I know this session was emotional for those of you who've lost your parents and have lost loved ones and are thinking about them. So invite them to, get their energy cleared. Mary, thank you so much. I'm going to, because I know so many people in this community are sending me their best wishes. I will think of you tomorrow morning. So breathe into the palms of your hands, and now just breathe into them and just feel the breath of your breath on your hands, and imagine that as healing energy. And as you cross it back on your heart, just feel yourself getting grounded and balanced in that space. So thank you for joining me. I hope to be here with you next week. I will let you know. I send out a broadcast every morning reminding people about this. But have a great week. Thank you for joining me, and take care. Goodbye.